To news and views with myself, Salam El-Zaatari. The time is 8 minutes past 10 Central African time. And we're going to be switching gears now to, I think, one of the biggest headlines of the last few years. It was one of the most powerful non-nuclear explosions in history on August the 4th. 2020, exactly 5 years from the day a fire at Beirut's port detonated 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate, killing more than 218 people and injuring thousands. Among the victims were young children. 3-year-old Alexandra Nagaya comes to mind. He quickly became the face and symbol of an innocent life lost. And 5 years later, the scars still run deep. The physical damage has long been cleared away by citizens, but not the state. But in that political discourse and conversation that enabled the explosion to happen in the first place, has there been any kind of justice to be realized by the victims? For years, victims' families have fought through layers and layers of political interference, their reports of corruption and silence. And now, under a new Lebanese government, there seems to be a glimmer of hope that justice and full transparency might finally be on the horizon for the victims of that Beirut blast that happened exactly 5 years ago. And joining us now for this very, very important conversation is Salam El-Zaatari. He's a Lebanon-based producer, director, writer, and podcaster, and someone who's quite closely followed and documented the trauma and the aftermath of that, I think, a defining moment. As we watched from afar here in South Africa, it was really, really sad to see. Salam, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to News and Views. Really appreciate you giving us your time and to talk about, I think, a very, very important and defining moment in recent Lebanese history.
Thank you for hosting me, and good morning from Beirut.
I think let's start with today or maybe yesterday, because it was on the 4th of August 2020. 5 years later, what's the mood like in Beirut today, looking back and commemorating 5 years of that blast that had the whole world watching?
Well, like you said in the beginning, the scars do run deep, and especially with the family of the victims. More than 200 victims were died that day. 3 children were amongst them. More than 6,000 injured. Third of the city was blown into pieces, like it with the glass and shattered everywhere. It was chaotic. It was it was an awful scene. And Lebanese always, because they are caught up with so many different things, so many different hardships. But now with the new government, because of the transparency, because of the change that Lebanon is going through, I think we might have a leap of hope, like a beak of hope. I think the investigation now is going to resume in August, end of August. But there's the judge Bitar is now he's doing the finalizing comprehensive indictment, and is expected to be released at the end of this month. But there is a problem. There's further witness testimonies. There's the parliamentary immunity, the refusal of some politicians to cooperate because we know how corrupt they were. And there's a lot of people involved in it. And because there's a lot of politicians and high status political figures and security figures are involved in this case, it was really hard and needed international support. But still, there's a lot of theories going on. One of them is this is just an incident, an accident that happened. There's another theory that these nitrates were being stored for the war in Syria, and there's political affiliation involved, and with militias and other groups. So therefore, they suspect that probably there's the theory that Israel probably bombed the explosion. That's why nations like Russia or France did not give us the full detailed satellite imagery the day and the minute that happened.
Mm,
So there's a lot of question marks on this investigation, but nonetheless, the ones who are responsible are the ones who stored and knew about it the whole time, and these are the targeted suspects that needs to be indicted, and so that the families of the victims could have some sort of a closure, uh, as so as Lebanon as much
mm,
as well.
mm. And you mentioned something quite important that there's a glimmer of hope from the victims' families and those that were affected by this explosion. We know that investigations were stalled for a few years. What would you say has changed recently? What's giving people that hope that you're talking about?
Well, first, the government. The government is the head of the government is a judge, is a well-known judge internationally, um, and he was the head of the International Court for Criminal Justice. And I think he wants to leave a legacy that this investigation can go somewhere. Plus, Judge Bitar is being supported by international efforts so they could reach some sort of truth or to pin it on the directly responsible for the storing of the nitrate. And now, after 5 years, because of this, there's a momentum now, the momentum of change in the area. And the momentum internally in Lebanon, the change between the dynamic powers between Hezbollah and the government and Lebanon as a state, the timing is key. Um, so, some people are concerned that this might get politicized, but it already got politicized since day one. Um,
Mm,
since day one, a lot of key figures in Hezbollah said that this would be used against Hezbollah. I don't know how they came up with this, but that's why they stalled and they threatened Judge Bitar on a lot of occasions and couldn't do anything. But now, after the Israeli-Lebanese war, the recent one with Hezbollah, the structures have changed. The figures, some figures are no longer with us. So the dynamics of the investigation changed, which left a window of opportunity that they could get to certain uh, figures in the government that can be investigated or work on getting their immunity to vote their immunity to take their immunity from the parliament so they can be investigated.
mm, mm,
So the dynamics just changed now, and there's a momentum. Uh, but everyone is still waiting and clinging on just to know the truth, or at least someone gets um, the justice gets done.
mm, And I think that's the most important aspect. Judge Pidar's name keeps coming up. Can you maybe just explain why he's such a central and I don't know, somewhat many consider a controversial figure in the story?
Well, he's the probe judge. He's the investigative judge, and it is known that this judge is not corrupt, and he has integrity. But he was tied up by the political influence and the corrupted judiciary system that we have. So, but then when he got some international recognition and they saw the work that he has done, the investigation and the file that he had gathered, all the info, and he wanted just to question more people, and they stood. Um, they didn't let him to question ministers or security figures. So this only increased that this judge is serious and he has integrity and he wants to know the truth and indict. But he's being fought a lot. Without international support from the international community, he couldn't do anything. Now there's the people surrounding him. The new government is supporting him, and the international community. Therefore, in order to continue the and finish the indictment, he needs to investigate more key figures in the government now. And if he can do that now, he could come up with the indictment by the end of August. If he can't, I think it will be delayed till 2026.
Hmm.
And once they find out who's responsible and why, and to who's like share at least in justice, vis-a-vis justice, uh, to just share the responsibility. Who signed on the storage? Who slept 7 years knowing that there's this big nitrate, the big amount of nitrate at the port and the dangerous? Who ignored the reports of the security forces saying that this is very dangerous? Who got paid? Who let it out? Who the people are whose people are on it selling the nitrate to Syria? Who's responsible for the ship that got them? Who's responsible? All of these people. Now, there is information, but some key figures are protected by the corrupted political elite, let's say.
Hmm.
So I think with the right amount of effort after 5 years, and the support from the people and the new government and the international community, I think Judge Bitar will indict by the end of 26, if not end of this month. But I think it's the end of 26.
Hmm. And I think that's something most of us would like to see. 5 years ago, as we were looking, to Beirut, and the images that were coming, from the country, it looked like it was Beirut's citizens, and not the state, essentially, who cleaned up the streets and cared for the
It's
wounded.
true.
Has that spirit of mutual aid and resistance survived, especially looking at some other events that have followed, after August the 4th, 2020.
Here's the thing: when the explosion happened, we were led by
We seem to have lost Salam for a moment there, but I think, yeah, we're going to wrap it there for now.
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes. You
Yeah,
back. You back. I can hear you now.
yeah. Sorry. So we were led by an awful president who didn't do anything, and the government was very weak and broke. So everyone came down and helped out, and it was like it unified the citizens. Now it's getting more politicized because political fractions actually intentionally did this polarizing thing. So they would say this is an attack on Hezbollah, or this is an attack on this group of people in the government, or this is an attack, So there's a lot of problems. Everyone wants to know the truth, but they are trying to create this faction between the unified citizens, so they would actually not get anywhere, or to scare you just by asking for the truth. But I think eventually the truth will come out.
No, most definitely. And I think that's what everyone is hoping for. Salam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Really,
you.
really appreciate you giving us the time and giving us those insights.
Thank you.
That was Salam El-Zaatari. He's a writer, director, and storyteller from Beirut, and he's sharing reflections on a pain that refuses to be forgotten, the Beirut blast that shattered buildings and lives. But it also sparked a movement, one that 5 years on is louder, more relentless, and more determined than ever to crack the wall of impunity. We're going to take a quick break. News and views will come back after this, as we wrap up the show.